Hi, I'm going to be reviewing two air purifiers. The first one is the Eureka NE-A120, and this, by the way, is very similar to a Toshiba model, which is the CAF W36 USW. And the main difference between those two units is that the Toshiba has Wi-Fi, so you can connect it to your home network and control it from your phone. This Eureka unit does not have that feature. The second unit I'm going to be looking at is the WINIX A231. And these units have similar air purification ratings from AHAM, the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers. Both of these units for smoke and dust are rated at about 143 to 154 cubic feet per minute. But the main difference is in the pollen removal. The Eureka excels at 228 cubic feet per minute compared to 147 for the WINIX. In addition to the HEPA filter and the carbon filters that both of these units have, they also both have something that you might consider a gimmick, or perhaps it has a use. It has a different name on each one, but I think it's actually the same technology. The Eureka calls it UV plus TiO2, or titanium dioxide, and that combination is a method that is commonly used to generate hydroxyls, which are reactive molecules that can kill bacteria and viruses. And the WINIX has a feature called plasma wave, which they state is actually a hydroxyl generator. When you turn that feature on either unit, you get a little blue LED on the top. There's no noticeable change in the air output, not in the quantity of air, or in the odor of the air, or the sound, or anything else. Is that feature doing anything useful? I don't know. It's neither manufacturer rates the hydroxyl generation quantitatively. They just say it's there. So I personally think it's a gimmick. Perhaps it has some use. As far as energy consumption goes, these units are both Energy Star certified, and the Eureka is rated for 58 watts, and the WINIX 55 watts. So very similar energy usage on maximum setting. And as far as noise goes, that's kind of a big difference between the two. The Eureka on maximum, there it goes. It's quite noticeable. There's a lot of air coming out of it, good gust of wind, but it definitely is making some noise. It has that's the high setting. I'll go to the medium setting. It's much less. Finally, the low setting is just barely audible, and there's still a noticeable amount of air coming through it. By comparison, the WINIX on maximum, in the case of the WINIX, the air comes out of the top, and it also comes out forcefully. You'd have no problem feeling it up on the ceiling, and I'm confident that both of these units would do a good job at circulating air around the room instead of just purifying the air in one little corner. The WINIX, I'd say, is both louder, and the quality of the sound is maybe a little more annoying. It's not as it's kind of a more high-pitched sound. On the medium setting, it's much more tolerable, still quite audible, still a fair amount of air coming out of it. On the low setting, it's quiet, but still quite audible, and still some air coming out of it. there's a fourth setting actually in the WINIX, which is the sleep mode. In the sleep mode, it turns off this ring light and makes it even quieter. In fact, so quiet that there's almost no air coming from it. In my opinion, this is pretty useless, not accomplishing anything useful. Very quiet, but also I can still hear it, by the way, even though it's quiet. But there's so little airflow, I don't think it would accomplish much. Oh, it also has an automatic mode, and this is a feature unique to the WINIX, not found on the Eureka or the Toshiba. It has an air quality monitor, and that's indicated by this blue ring here, which changes color. Blue is good air, then yellow for worse, and red for very bad, or orange for very bad, I think. And it's supposed to increase the speed automatically. When it's in auto mode, it will increase the speed depending on the color of the ring. As far as the specs go, the WINIX is rated for 25 dB minimum. They don't rate the maximum, and I think there's a reason for that. And the Eureka is rated 32 to 52 dB. Now, if you look at the reviews for either of these units, you can get some information. You'll find on the Eureka, there's a lot of people that complain that the unit starts out quiet and after a few weeks or months develops a gradually increasing high-pitched whine to the point where it becomes intolerable. This unit is new. There's no such whine. I was hoping that perhaps those people that were complaining about that were forgetting to remove the plastic cover from the air filter before they installed it. So I tried to install the air filter with that plastic cover and to see if I could recreate that noise, but I could not. So it seems that that's a real problem, and it was affecting only a small number of reviews reported it, but it was consistent among that small number of reviews. So perhaps after some months or years, I can look forward to that same noise with this Eureka unit. The other issue that's commonly reported, not with the Eureka, but its sister unit, the Toshiba, is that sometimes the Wi-Fi becomes disconnected and can never be reconnected again. That's a common report, that the device still works with the push buttons on the top, but the Wi-Fi, after working for some period of time, becomes entirely inoperative. If you look at the reviews for the WINIX, many people describe it as being loud, and I can see why they would say that. Both of these units, by the way, are certified by the California Air Resources Board to generate no significant amount of ozone. Ozone is a respiratory irritant that also has the property of being able to purify the air, but and some air purifiers intentionally generate it, and those would not be approved by CARB, but these two units do not intentionally generate ozone, and they are therefore approved by CARB. As far as the filters go, on the Toshiba, you pull down this back panel, and that reveals the filters, which is a HEPA filter, and it has a carbon filter that is Velcroed to it. And unfortunately, when I tried to remove the carbon filter, it tore the Velcro right off the frame of the HEPA filter. So I wasn't too impressed with the quality of this, but fortunately it's not a showstopper because when the air flows, it flows in this direction, so it tends to suck the carbon filter against the HEPA filter regardless of the Velcro. So I'm not going to be too upset about that. And Toshiba recommends cleaning that filter twice each week, which is quite a lot of maintenance. And they recommend replacing the HEPA filter every 12 months and the carbon filter every 3 months. And by comparison, the WINIX, they recommend cleaning the filter only every 14 days and replacing the filter at 12 months. Now, to replace the filter on the WINIX, you have to flip the unit upside down, untwist the bottom cover, and you remove the circular filter, which contains both the carbon and the HEPA filter in one unit. It's a little more awkward on the WINIX, but not a big deal. And as far as the cost of the filters, the Eureka will cost you about $56 per year in filters if you go with the Eureka brand filters. For a generic filter, it can be as cheap as $18 a year. And the WINIX, at current prices, their filter is $47. I'm sorry, it's $47 for the WINIX brand filter, and there's a generic filter available at $38. Both these units have a light on the top that flashes to tell you when it's time to change the filter. I believe on both units it's just it just measures cumulative on time and does not actually measure how dirty the filter is. So it's of questionable use. It's basically just a reminder that you should think about replacing the filter. Confusingly, on the Eureka, although there are two different filters with different replacement schedules, there's only one light. So it's really of questionable use because you don't know what you're supposed to do when that light comes on. Replace the HEPA filter or the carbon filter. Both these units, well, the warranty is a little different. The Eureka has a 3-year warranty, and the WINIX has a 2-year warranty. And one last point I want to make about the Eureka is something I found on the bottom of the box after I unpacked it. On the bottom of the box, there is a warning that says, "Warning, this product can expose you to chemicals including plumbum, which is known to the state of California to cause cancer, and plumbum, which is known to the state of California to cause birth defects or other reproductive harm." So I have two issues with this. The first is the placement of that seemingly important message on the bottom of the box, where most consumers would never see it or might see it after they've unpacked the unit, as I did. And the second issue is the use of the word plumbum. Well, turns out plumbum is Latin for lead. So most people I know don't speak fluent Latin. So I'm going to assume that this message was placed here with that wording in an attempt to conceal it and conceal the meaning of it. And I personally find that offensive and concerning. So the real issue is, does this unit present a health hazard to your family? And I have no idea. That message may be there because there's lead in the solder in the circuit board that will never come in contact with you. Or it could be that the unit spews lead particulates and will poison your family. There's no way of knowing. It would be nice if they gave you some more information about why that message is here. So you'll have to use your own judgment, make your own choice. Currently, the Eureka and Toshiba units are selling for about $20 cheaper on Amazon compared to the WINIX. And it is quieter. The Eureka is better at pollen removal again. That Prop 65 warning is concerning. So either unit, though, I think is a reasonable choice. Also, the WINIX is really designed for a tabletop use. It could be used on the floor, but it may tend to suck in more dust into the filters and fur if you have pets. So it's probably better put on a table. And the Eureka is meant to stand on the floor and is conveniently carried around with this handle. But I think both units are a good choice.